for joining me today for Plan to Publish, Why Hiring a Certified Author Assistant Saves You Stress. And today I'd like to welcome my guest, Ellen Seigel. Ellen is the author of Be Happy No Matter What. If you don't like how you're feeling, Ellen can show you how to enjoy yourself and be happy no matter what. It's the title of her book. She has done this for 42 years for others and for herself, and she's here today to help you understand and share some experiences she's had when she decided to hire a professional certified author assistant. Ellen, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Colleen.
Glad
I love
to have
talking
you.
about this. I love talking about this, yes.
Great, great. So when you first started to, let me go back to where you started. Had you had your manuscript written before you decided to work with a certified author assistant, or did you know you had a story in you? Take me back to the beginning.
Well, I was in an environment where I was in a business organization that had an arm that helped people think about writing. And through that, I had taken on a writing coach. And I had thought about it. I had lots of note cards that I would lay on the floor, and I couldn't see how they were going to come together. And these cards had thoughts on them that I'd accumulated for about 15 years. And so one day I was at a conference and I overheard somebody talking to a group of other people. And I thought, oh, if I ever write a book, that's the kind of person I want to help me. The person sounded like they knew about publishing and organizing and all the things that I knew I didn't know. So some years went by, and I took on a writing coach, and they helped me by asking me questions. It helped me pull my thoughts together. And then I went and searched for that person that I overheard several years before.
Okay, was this the certified author assistant you decided to go with then?
Yes, it was. So I didn't even really know what to look for help. And so that's how I came upon that person. And since then, I've become a big fan of certified author assistants, because really one of the things that they do that I valued was, in terms of assisting, they actually navigated me through the entire process, and which was a big help, because I would have questions along the way, and sometimes professionals that I've worked with, not the certified author's assistant though, didn't like that I would ask so many questions. But when I ask questions, it's not to take over to do those things, but it's to understand the value of what I'm paying someone to do.
Okay. Well, great. Well, not to interrupt you, but that's what a lot of people, when I'll say we'd like to help authors, or we assist authors and support them on their journey. And I had been using another word that wasn't resonating with people. They said, I don't even know what you mean when you say publishing, or I don't know what you mean when you say self-publishing or whatever. It's like they have this overwhelm and they want the confusion taken away. And so we try to explain to them that for us, there's no one size fits all for working with a certified author assistant or anybody in the book publishing process, because someone might have their manuscript created and then they want the steps moving forward on getting an editor or a proofreader. But understanding how someone can help you get the overwhelm lessened or the confusion lessened. Explain how that happened with you.
Well, I'm going to say, and those of you who are watching this might be useful to you. The person that I worked with had said to me at the beginning, I think she saw how overwhelmed I was. And she said, how do you feel about me taking charge of the project?
Okay.
Now, not every writer is going to feel comfortable with that. Depends on if you have control issues or, it's your baby, that book. So you might not feel comfortable right away, so you might be looking for more of a partnership. And believe me, this was a partnership. And she just took, when I asked her what kinds of things do you see, because what you just said, Colleen, is so valuable, that that your view as a certified author assistant is an educated professional view. So when you look into my situation as an author, you see all the things that line up that could be done to make the path smooth. If you look into some other author's experience and what's happening for them, you might see other things that they need. So that's why to consult with a professional certified author's assistant, you're getting an expertise that, unless you had all that training, you don't have.
Right. And you try not to overwhelm the person you're talking to. If we're talking to a potential client or someone trying to figure out what it is we do, we don't want to overwhelm them, but there are so many steps in the publishing process, whether you self-publish or go the traditional publishing route, that it's like you don't want to give them all the information, but you want to help lessen their confusion and lessen their overwhelm. And if someone like you wants to just hand it over, be involved, but allow the certified author assistant to help and do the process, that in the long run helps you. But at the same time, it allows the certified author assistant to do what they're trained to do. Does that make sense?
Which has efficiency and effectiveness in it.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Now you might presume that, let's say you hire an accountant, and you think, well, all accountants are certified and they're the same. But there's it's not true about that. But there is a path, and there are efficient ways to navigate the publishing process, and that about that, and I don't. There's some other special things that a certified author's assistant can help me with, and that was things like, well, not only did she, when I said she gave me education. So like at the beginning, like you're saying, like a person doesn't usually know what commercial publishing is or independent publishing. There's hybrid types of publishing. There's, private, I forgot what you call when you do it yourself.
Self-publishing.
Self-publishing. Thank you. I did that, but you see, so, okay. So along the process, the author could say to you, you know what, give me a little education first here. What are the choices at this point in my process? And then when you get to the next point, and then, the certified author's assistant could sort of shine a light down that path and say, and then this would be what we would do in this. And I learned that I didn't know the value of a professional editor. I figured it's just fine to ask your colleague or friend who teaches creative writing in college to be your editor. And no, that is not what, whatever material's coming to you as an author, whoever's watching this, this is your gift that you're bringing into the world. So you want to make sure that it has the best guidance to get it out there efficiently and effectively. And I learned that 3 rounds of editing, and I learned the value of that from the certified author's assistant I worked with. And so I knew that was something I wanted for my material. So something like that. And then when it came time to work with the editor, this was great because the assistant connected me with, what shall I say? The author's assistant knew many editors and knew the material of my book. And so selected an editor and gave me the reasons why she thought this editor would be good for my material.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really important. Right.
So I could interview lots of editors, but I don't know what I'm interviewing for as an author. But a certified author's assistant has the critical thinking and discernment to select even 3 that the author could pick from.
Right. And that's what's great about having a team behind you that you can help, that can help you. If you have, talking about, for example, the editors, you know, there's editors who do memoirs, there might be editors who do fiction work, and those are really can be 2 different types of editors because the material's different and the critiquing is different too. So what would you say is the most beneficial aspect that you had working with your certified author assistant?
Well, she interfaced between me and the editor. Not that I didn't speak to the editor at different times, but the assistant actually could tell me, you know, now is a good time for you to connect with the editor. You know, because I could hear, Ellen, in your questions to me that this needs to be finessed with the editor, and your best, Ellen, as the author, sharing with the editor, you know, what nuance that you like. I was very keen on, it's got to be grammatically correct, the usage has to be correct, and the editor would come back with the correct usage and form and grammar, and yet in my ear it changed the meaning of what I had said. So after we went back and forth and I got to share some, the editor was able to synchronize the accuracy and not lose the meaning. But the assistant was the one who spotted that juncture. So the other places she interfaced for me was, and this is, I'm not very technologically savvy. So when the editor sent the document with all the markings on it, I'm telling you, it was like, I couldn't even sit with the document, Colleen. I couldn't sit with the document.
You telling me, right? I remember you.
And thank you, Colleen, because you have worked with me since then on some other works. And your service has provided that for me, your literary prose, which I love, love, love. And it was like, so in those days, and it was I don't know, my book is 40,000 words, 45,000 words. It's not gigantic, but it was lots of underlining and marking out and little red marks. So my author's assistant, she actually got us onto a shared screen, and she went over everything with me.
Yeah,
I needed that much support.
That's nice. Yeah.
I needed that much support. And let me tell you something. What I paid was worth every penny for that, because quite frankly, I was not going to be able to get through that part of the standard process. That's part of the standard process when you use a professional editor.
Right.
So,
exactly.
You know, and then all the other things, the Library of Congress, all the detail work. And then when it came to Amazon, setting up the book there, an author's page, like, I don't know the beneficial accessories.
Right. You don't, because there's so much to know. There's so much to learn. And really, if you don't know what to do, how can you help someone? And you know the story of someone, I'm not going to mention a name here, but remember someone had worked with a vanity publisher or something different. And we're going to be talking about, let me tell my audience here, we're going to be talking about all the different types of publishing you can do. So that'll be in future episodes here. But this author assistant, or the not author assistant, it was a vanity publisher, and I got connected to an author, and she had written a couple books, and I went on Amazon, and she didn't even have an author page set up for her. She had no author page. So how are people going to find her? And I was really surprised, but I mean, that wasn't in the contract of that person, but they didn't know to ask. They didn't know. They didn't know to ask. And a certified author assistant knows those paths to help you take to get through the process. And you mentioned something a little bit earlier, that there are so many tasks to completing it, so it's a professionally published book. Even when you self-publish, it is professionally published. Yeah. That the author assistant or a professional knows when each task needs to be completed in the order so that you don't miss anything. And that's an important aspect too, I think, of the process. So what is, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, and certain things can't be done until other things are done first.
Exactly.
Which I wouldn't know the order of those things. So.
Right. And that's why it's important to to really educate your author, and not so that the overwhelm is reduced. And it's a hard thing to do, really, because people want to know everything, but you try to say it's your journey. And we use the GPS. I think you know that we use your publishing GPS, because we can help them or take them on the road in the order that's needed. And take a detour if you need to because something changed, but then get back on the path. So right. I don't know, but what's one tip you would give to a person who wants to be an author but they don't know what to do? What is one tip that you would give them?
Well, the first thought that came to me is find somebody to encourage you. It's like connect with an author assistant and say, because one of the things that I know from my experience with your literary prose is, as you say, you'll take someone anywhere in the process. So that's even, the germinating idea thing. I participate, your literary prose has a wonderful book club. We meet on Monday nights, and it started not so much, it's people who have an interest in books, and maybe one person was a friend of somebody who joined or whatever. But the thing is that there are some people in our book club who have had ideas germinating for years, or an idea, and some people have taken things a little further. Some people have not been able to, open up the cabinet with a few notes. So I also see, I don't know that all certified authors assistants have this quality that you and Peter have, Colleen, and that is a heart for the writing. So, if you can find someone and, who can encourage you right from the beginning, I see a book there. And if a person has the thought, gee, I wonder if this could ever be a book, to follow your heart into it. Have a intro conversation with a certified author's assistant, and anybody watching this, we got your literary prose right here, and see what encouragement you get. And it doesn't have to be as daunting as we make it when you have the right kind of help.
Right, and that's a good question, or the encouragement and helping to help people on their path. And everyone does have a story. It's just what they need, what they're looking for to publish. And there are many certified author assistants out there who have taken this certification and know what to do to, if someone needs help. There's a lot of people out there. I want to ask you one more question, Ellen, because this just came to my mind. We try to educate our authors that marketing starts before you even start writing your book. So, because your book really is a business, because you want to make money on it, but you need to get those raving fans, those people who want to buy your book and look forward to reading your book when it's out. So when did you start marketing? How did you start that process of marketing your book?
Well, my certified author assistant told me, she said, look, you need to have X number of reviews. And I didn't really want to ask people to review, but I was really surprised that when I started that people were interested. And I started with friends and family. And so then, those are on Amazon. It's you need a little more creativity with situation with people not traveling around so much these days. So I know that, the excitement, it's really let yourself be excited so that you're talking about what you're doing with everyone that you know.
Right.
That way. And then, at this point in the process, I wrote, Be Happy. Can I show the book?
Sure.
Be Happy No Matter What, 5 Steps to Inner Freedom. So I wrote this a while ago, and I have a study guide coming out soon. And so I have another excitement about it in terms of marketing. Not that you can't be excited about it all the way. And then I'm going to say that in consulting with Your Literary Prose, Colleen's going to help me with a virtual book tour. So your certified author's assistant has information on marketing too.
Right. And they can point you in the direction of the people, like pointed you to Kathleen Gage or whoever does podcasts. But podcasts are a great way to get your message out. Even when traveling starts again, it's nice to get out and travel, but the convenience of being able to do a book tour in the comfort of your office or your home.
Oh, it's amazing.
It saves money on the traveling, etc. You might not see the people, but there's different avenues and in ways to get your message out there. So
well, and then just in general, when you're with someone who's so well informed, they spark other kinds of things in you. So your idea about the virtual podcast got me thinking about doing a podcast.
Okay.
So, and I've gotten, it's not, I haven't done the first one yet, but I've got the platform, I got the icon, I came up with a name, Enlightening Realizations. And so you never know, and just in letting my mind go, it's like, I don't know, and that could be the title of a book. And then we've got something else to do. So, right? So my creative mind has been opened up by you. Thank you. And let me just think, was there anything else? There were other, how can I say this? My assistant had me participate in a creative way in that when it came time to choose the layout of the book, and it's got a lot of open space in it, and it's got lots of different headings with different fonts. And she said something like, that's going to be a little tangled for the person who does the layout. But I could see that I wanted different fonts for different categories of things. And she made it happen. She said, well, I know of a particular layout person who will be open to that.
That's great. That's great.
So, you know, stuff like that. And then she also would offer me, you know, I could say, well, you know, I want to change this, I want to change that. I would say to her, what does your creative eye say to you? Because she's got lots of experience with people and books. And she would say, well, I just want to tell you, you can leave it this way. If we just change the color to make the font darker, that may satisfy what you're driving at. If we change the shape, then that's going to be more work for a layout artist and things like that. So, and she could actually say, you know, I can't give you an exact thing, but you know, how you want to do, how important it is, how important is it to you? You want to spend X amount of dollars to rework this, or if we just do this, it'll bring the buyer, the reader's eye to it. And so, and she was very explanatory and could lay it out that way. It made it easy for me to say, oh, let me see. Do I want to spend this? Is this good enough? Okay, I'll go with that. And so I got help with decision making also.
Okay, great. Well, I have one final quick question for you, and then remind me, I'll have you tell people where they can find you in your book. But what did, the question went out of my mind. Oh, I know. What what made you decide on self-publishing versus going the traditional route?
Okay. It was around the time that commercial publishers stopped helping do marketing. I mean, unless you, and I would say whoever is watching this, do not give up on your writing. To go to a giant commercial publisher and get a big advance and all of that might not happen at the beginning. So, but if you have that drive, keep going for it and stay at it. At where I started, it was like, you know what? If I'm going to have to do my own marketing, well, then I want to make sure that every word in this book is through me. Once you get into commercial publishing, it's like they get the rights of the book and their editors take over. So, you know, yes, you will have a much bigger audience and money, presumably. So that's why I went self-publishing. And then I learned that after you have a book that's self-published, let's say you have a bit of a following, you can take it then to a commercial publisher.
Right. Well, thanks so much for that information. And we're going to talk more about that later too in a traditional publishing segment that we're going to have. But that's so true. I'm going to follow up on one thing. If you do decide to go to a traditional publishing route, which we'll talk about later again, remember that in your contract, look for what marketing they do, because that's a great information Ellen brought up, that they may only market for a press release and nothing else. And so just make sure you know what type of marketing you're getting into if you do go the traditional route. Ellen, could you tell people where they could find you and look at your book and your study guide that's going to be coming out?
Sure. Well, the book is Be Happy No Matter What, 5 Steps to Inner Freedom. And it's a very easy read and soothing, and will fill in the blanks and bring you to your highest level of self-appreciation and freedom, so that you can go on and then do all the things that you want to do in your life. And so there's BeHappyNoMatterWhat.com, where you can find me, and you can find daily contemplative thoughts that people are getting in their email boxes.
Okay.
And the study guide, I don't know, another month or two. is a companion piece to this. Oh, and also there was one other book. Wait, hold on, I forgot. How could I forget this? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Handling your own emotions. Handling your own emotions, which is a little bit of a pocket guide, so you can take this with you in case you're in a jam.
Yeah, and I do carry that with me and look at it. Ellen, thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone, thank you for joining us, and look for our next segment of Plan to Publish soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.